Good morning. Happy Monday, everyone. Ray, how we doing?
Doing good. GM. Awesome weekend. So a little bit of a downtick in the NFT market, but you know what? The Phillies won. They advanced. We're going on to the next round. I know you have a little bit of luck over there as well.
Yeah, my Mariners coming through big. I can't say the same for the Mets. So Tom, if you're watching, tough luck, but you win some, you lose some. Guys, welcome to the WGMI Morning Show, episode 19. Where we bring you everything and anything you need to know about the NFT market in 30 minutes or less, using WGMI's various tools and analytics to hopefully help you make some money in this market. If you like what you see, if you like some of the analytics that we're going to be showing you during this show, feel free to DM us the word newsfeed for a chance to win a 7-day trial to use all of our tools risk-free. Don't want to miss that out. We give away one free trial per show, and people absolutely love it. Some broader market stories we're going to be covering today are, even though we saw in Opensea post a massively low volume yesterday of $8.4 million, which is the lowest in the last 14 months. CloneX and Wolfgame are still up and rallying. They're up. CloneX is up 43% to a 9.4 ETH floor, and Wolfgame is up 80% to a 1.15 ETH floor. And they have several other assets that are up about the same amount. As always, we would appreciate it if you retweet our broadcast. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, and please comment, like, let us know what you think. Let us know what you think of the show. But with that being said, we're going to move on to the morning market report. This is brought to you by WGMI Newsroom. This is our official news account. We post news from our news feed, daily snapshots. So if you like to see, don't hesitate to go check that out. Yesterday's OP volume was 8.4 million. Like I said earlier, a 14-plus month low. The NFT is sorted by the 24-hour volume. We boarded Ape Yacht Club with an 80 ETH floor, doing 467 ETH in volume and 6 sales. We have Other Side coming in second with 356 ETH in volume, sun sales sitting at a 1.75 ETH floor. CloneX, like we were talking about earlier, sitting at a 9.4 ETH floor, up 43% in the week. 27 sales in the last 24 hours, but those listings are trending up, so something to watch for there. Not too encouraging. You see Ranga sitting at a 2.4 ETH floor. It's down 0.5 ETH or 19% over the last week. And rounding out at the very bottom, you see two things that stick out to you. Number one is Pixel Mall sitting at a 0.5 ETH floor. So they're rallying. They're moving 128 sales in the last 24 hours, including a 65 Pixelmon sweep, and it seems that's what's causing a little bit of a rally. And then at the very bottom, we see the Wolfgame Genesis land pumping along with the other Wolfgame assets. Ray, as you look at the dashboard, does anything stick out to you in particular?
Yeah, no, I've been watching the Wolfgame run all weekend. We've been watching the price of wool run as well. We are seeing some speculation I suppose. I don't know if there's inside information, but we are getting closer to the release of that game. They said Q4. They're building it up. They have all the pieces on the board. You have your land, wolves, sheep, farmers, and then the wool pouches that are leaking that wool over time. Looking at all of that, they have the board set up very nicely. They are masters of the gamification, making holders make tough decisions, encouraging holders to lock up their assets. They've had such a low listing count on the Wolf Game assets. I threw a couple charts together to kind of show, some of the listings versus floor price over time. Looking here at the Wolf Game floor, which is comprised mostly of the sheep assets, we've seen the floor really run. The floor price in ETH is the green bar here, running up over the weekend, got up to 1.35 ETH at a peak there. We're dropping down a bit now, 1.15. We saw listings, right before this run up, drop down to 75. I think we called this on the morning show Thursday or Friday. We said, there's none of these things listed. There's 65 total assets. This is not only sheep, this is the wolves as well. So each of those assets are sharing, part of that 75. Called that ahead of this run, said, hey, look, these are staked. People aren't going to want to unlock them as they need to, keep them locked up through the whole alpha game to get the benefit. They've been staking for 6, 7, 8 months at this point. And if they unstake them now, there's no benefit. They haven't been getting rewards over that entire period. So a very smart mechanic there, leading to a nice run up in price coming ahead of the actual game. Looking now, we saw the listings run up 120. One at the moment, floor price dipping a bit. I think we probably see this continue to settle. We probably dip down maybe in this 1 ETH range, maybe slightly under 0.92 level here as well that we saw before the weekend. We'll see what happens with those listing counts that people are, buying them speculatively, buying them and staking them. But, with the way that game works, if you're buying a sheep asset now and you're putting it into alpha game, you're only starting to accrue rewards now. So they're easier to pull out and, sell. So interesting to see how this price reacts. If you would have bought on Thursday or Friday when we called it and, sold at that top, you would have been feeling pretty good right now. I also have a chart here saved, with our premium product. You can, create these custom charts, save them, go back to them very easily as well. So I'm looking at all the floors here for all the Wolf Game assets. We're separating it out by data set so that they're fairly normalized. Over the last few days, we've seen a huge run up on most of these assets. Sorry, I'm looking at listings for the Wolves here, not floor. All these assets. And if we look at the one in particular that's super interesting is the actual wolf. So we can not only create graphs on just the floors, you can create graphs on different traits as well. So looking at just wolves here, they went on a tear, 7.5 ETH on the 8th on Saturday. We're up to 11.99, basically 12 ETH on the wolves, one of the top assets in that ecosystem. So keep an eye there. I think we're going to see retracement all throughout the ecosystem, but we'll keep you updated. We're going to continue to monitor this, watch that listing count. And, it's part of our daily filters. We're looking for what can move, not only what is moving. So we've been ahead of a lot of these big runs, Wolf Game, Renga, Gangster All-Stars over the last few weeks. So make sure you tune in and keep a lookout for when we do drop these little nuggets at the end of the show, what we're watching out for. We have been hitting at a pretty good rate so far.
Yeah, and it's been you follow the framework and you see these listings when you start playing with it. As long as volume is consistent, you can kind of predict some of these. Although one of the things that I'm kind of scared about now going forward, at least this week, is during the Web3. There's an event going on in Vegas for Web3 and NFTs, and a lot of the big players of NFTs are over there. And typically during these live events, you see volume slow down, like we saw yesterday during with Opensea posting a very low volume for the week. So overall, during these markets, it can get kind of unpredictable. So during these times, it does help to go look at the numbers and try to take that wait and see approach, and obviously be a little bit more optimistic, cautiously, and watch out for these outside events that could affect the numbers as well.
I love how we've kind of switched roles a bit here. I've been very bearish over the last few weeks here. We're beginning to turn around now. You're like, oh, hold on, pump the brakes there, Ray. Right. No, I definitely agree with you, and that's why we use sales as part of our metrics. You need to make sure that listings alone aren't going to tell you what's going to potentially run. You need to look at, is there consistent volume on that project, and we talk about that a bit as well. Making sure that there is liquidity there if you do need to sell this into that pump. There's consistent sales, and you can get out if you need to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so I think that about wraps it up for the early part of the market dashboard. I can jump into the news now unless you have anything to add.
Yeah, please do. I know we have a lot to cover.
Yeah, we have a jam-packed news. I think we have like 23 news items. So if I am jumping through fast, you can always mint our pass, jump in and see the news for yourself. I've curated the top 25 or so news items from the weekend, from the last few days, what you need to know to get caught up and get ready for this week. Starting off, we have our daily Zen Academy mint list raffle KPR mint available there. We link right to it from our news feed. Decentraland, we talked about this a bit last week. They opened reservations for their music festival. I thought this was interesting. I looked at this. I added it to my calendar. Um, I also kind of RSVP'd. It looks like there's going to be about 30 of us there so far, which is not too promising overall.
Oh my
But maybe more
God,
people
man.
see about this as it goes over time. I know we talked about the numbers over at Decentraland being pretty low in terms of daily active users. This may confirm it a bit, but interested to see. They're putting on a 4 or 5 day show of 12 hours a day. So be interesting to see what exactly is going to be going on over there. Moving on to Solana, we saw that Frank from D-Gods announced 0% royalties for the D-Gods Tubes and Utes collections. There's going to be a good amount of discussion around this. I think there was some speculation. Hey, was this anything to have anything to do with that cryptic tweet he sent out before the weekend saying that he talked to somebody and that there was going to be like heavy regulation or some sort of regulation coming down that's going to affect the market? It was very cryptic. Didn't give any context or more information on that. You saw copy pastas about that tweet all weekend. Wonder if that has anything to do with these this change here, but something to monitor for sure. I'm not plugged into Solana, so I would need an expert to take a look in there to let me know how those floor prices have been doing. In the land of crypto punks, we saw Punk 2924 tease out that they'll be bidding 9,000 ETH for a crypto punk today. So they're talking about the different crypto punks that they're looking at. They're looking at bidding on an alien. We brought up the site this morning. We didn't see any bid come in yet. We can look at the previous sales. Looks like 8K ETH was the highest most recent sales. So 9K would be setting a record in terms of ETH value. We'd have to look at that conversion from ETH to USD, but this last sale was at $10.49 million 7 months ago. Keeping an eye out on that. That would definitely pump the volume numbers for a day, at least in the NFT market. We saw the Nifty Portal announce that they are releasing a hoodie. They're partnering with Stay Cool NFT, releasing a standard black hoodie. It says "Go Long" on it. Take a look there if you are a Nifty Portal owner. Moving into Kingship, there's an airdrop that's been announced for the holders. The news seemed to be a little bit different than what they were saying at first. So now they're saying there's a snapshot, but you don't need to be on that snapshot to get the airdrop. So anyone who owns an NFT at the time of the airdrop will receive it. You get one NFT key card or one airdrop per key card you own. And there's also like the snapshot is going to be like something extra. So they took a snapshot and there's going to be a little bit of an extra gift to the holders who held through that. So you can continue to buy Kingship cards if you want to receive this airdrop. I don't know the details. We dive into the threads a bit here and provide you links out to all of the additional information you need. We have a big week ahead from Digi-Daigaku. There's going to be the hero reveal. There's going to be an airdrop for Genesis and Heroes. Every week, I feel like we're talking about an airdrop for this project, Clemente. Is it ever going to be too much? Is it ever going to be diluted? Is this floor price ever going to go down?
The floor price has been holding steady despite what I was saying over the weekend is typically that the market has to react to this. It's not just everyone wins and new money is being printed. It has to come from somewhere and people have to buy into it. Yeah, I don't know, but this is it's crazy to see that it's already gone this far and in what it's been 2 months and they've just cranked out airdrop after airdrop. Seems to be working for them so far, but I am still with this. I'm not touching Digi-Daigaku or any of its assets with a 10-foot pole personally, but it is definitely interesting to watch this play out and to see the floor still holding up.
Yeah, we're looking at 13 ETH last Monday. The week before, we were looking at 12 ETH. Held up last week. It's a pretty flat line there, and they're getting airdrop these assets. I think we saw the floor start out at 1 for that Castaways airdrop. I think it's back down. Was back down to 0.5. I haven't looked at it in the past day or two, but it seems to be a good hold, especially if you got in early or you got in during this original dip. You're sitting pretty there, and a valuable asset that continues to churn out dividends. Like you said, I can't buy in. I think eventually the merry-go-round is going to end, and it's going to be the people who are still on it that are going to be in trouble. I just don't want to be one of those people. I'm not taking as much of a risk, but it has paid off for holders so far. Going into art blocks, we have an art blocks drop today, a Tara Donovan project. This is an art blocks X space drop. I believe it's Tara Donovan's first ever NFT project. It's entitled QWERTY. It's talking about screen drawings, and I believe there's a small donation that's going to 25% of the proceeds will be going to Planned Parenthood. I didn't personally connect with the outputs. We looked at some of the sample outputs over the weekend. Took a look at the price point. It's going to be a Dutch auction starting at 5, resting at 0.15. I think this ends up getting closer to the 0.15 range. Just gut feeling. Haven't really dove into the artist or their other work. I didn't vibe with these too much. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I'll be watching, as always, monitoring for volume. I know we hit that Fontana play pretty well. I know the rectangles last Friday didn't pan out as well for me. Overpaid in gas, still holding that one, but always monitoring these for volume. There's good chances for quick flips on these art block projects. Moving on to meme land, another good amount of activity going on this week. They have a prize draw today. They're going to have the stage 4 reveal of their potatoes. They're going to be releasing a new website for meme land, and they're going to introduce MVP staking. They're going to tie this all together with a town hall to talk about what they've unveiled and what is coming forward. If you are a meme land holder, it's going to be a big week. Make sure you stay tuned. We'll keep you posted with all of the updates there.
Absolutely. And looking at the numbers really quick on the potatoes, they're sitting at 1.42 ETH floor. The listings seem to be trending. They're okay. They haven't really moved much, but 84 listed, and they still haven't really moved. So props to them for continuing to build that out effectively. Only 6 sales in the last 24 hours, so not great there. But overall, they've been trending pretty well. I know we covered Ryan Carson sweeping 10 of them on Friday. Definitely exciting to see there, and we'll, as this changes over time, if there is any action on it this week, we will keep you all posted on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll talk about more about Ryan Carson later in the show as well. So stay tuned. We had him on our market talk. We were able to bend his ear a bit, talk about a number of things, and have him do a live sweep. And we'll cover that later in the show for you. Now we're jumping onto our weekly summary section. Every week we have our deeply curated ecosystems with summaries provided by top curators, top holders, those who are plugged into the space, where we provide you an update on the data and the news. Coming out of World of Women, we saw the COO speak a bit, answering some community questions on his space. We saw that there was a charity with proceeds going to United for Iran. We saw that there was going to be artwork put into different airports, and the WoW Museum in Sandbox. Talked a bit about this during the public phase. I jumped in there, looked around. Pretty cool. Also, there's other people hanging out in there. That's now token gated for WoW and WoWG holders. Going in there and completing quests will result in earning SAND rewards. SAND is the token that powers the Sandbox ecosystem. So interesting to see there. If you do hold a World of Women or World of Women Galaxy, be sure to jump in and take a peek around. I think it's worth it just to get an idea of where we are with the metaverse right now, what the Sandbox is looking like. Make sure you get like your frame of reference together. You hear a lot about land, metaverse. What does this actually look like in when it's built? Like, what does it look like in terms of what you can actually jump into now? So definitely good to jump in there, get a little bit of experience, see where things are, give you a leg up over other people who may not be doing the same thing. Moving on to Artifact, we saw a ton of action here, and we continue. I feel like every day we're getting more action out of the Artifact ecosystem. JKB breaking everything down as our expert Artifact curator talks about what was going on over the week. We saw the story mode teaser followed by the actual Animus project teaser, where we saw, hey, Project Animus is going to be released. We got some more details from them in a following tweet saying that they'll receive an egg sometime in November. There's going to be a snapshot and an airdrop. Each egg will contain one Animus creature, and there are a variety of creatures other than the 2 that were just in the trailer. They'll each have unique powers, abilities. Gives me a lot of like Pokemon vibes, to be honest. The public drop of the actual eggs where they hatch and reveal is going to happen in 2023. I think it's probably going to be like an airdrop to clones and then an additional, maybe some sort of sale Is it going to be, sort of like their vial sale where they open it up to the public as well as they're dropping it? So you can see at least 20,000 of these. Are we going to see 40,000, 50,000, 30,000? What's that total going to look like? And how is it going to be priced? Definitely interested to see. And we saw a lot of price movement on the back of this as well. I don't know if you have anything to add here, what you've been looking at in the CloneX ecosystem, or what your thoughts are.
Well, they've been doing a fantastic job on teasing this and building up the speculation and the hype. Just from the overall team perspective, it has been nice to see that play out at a masterclass, I think, in marketing. One thing to take note of is I'm not getting anywhere near CloneX right now. I think personally, if I'm a holder, I'm going to potentially be looking at an exit point at around this price at a 9.4. The listings have just absolutely skyrocketed. And I know we were talking about that right last week where we were like, hey, the CloneX listings are going down. People are continuing to hold and take this wait and see approach to see what these eggs are going to be and what this incubation period is. When this came out and when this pump happened, we saw CloneX go from 6.5 ETH all the way up to 9.35. So inevitably there's going to be listings that go up. We went from 1190 all the way up to 1400 listed. So even though the price is not moving, I'm fading them at this price. Obviously not financial advice, but just based off of the numbers, we could have CloneX then go ahead and just drop more alpha and drop more crazy news. And obviously that'll cause it to continue to rise. But at this price, I'm obviously fading them. The other thing like we were saying earlier, Ray, it's going to be at least a 20,000 piece collection. And knowing what CloneX and Nike have done in the past, if they don't charge their holders for this, they're going to make a big public sale, I think, at a relatively high price. So we're going to see at least 5,000. If I had to put a number on it, I'd go 5 to 10,000 on it. And then you have to think about, okay, well, what's the floor going to be for these companion drops? Is it going to be that 1/5 kind of area? And is it going to be at around 1.5 to 2 ETH? Also worth monitoring to see that. If it's only worth 1.5 to 2 ETH, and you just made basically 4 ETH over the last pump, if you held for it, hey, is it time to sell? And then you buy in at a different price. You buy in at a later point. So things to monitor there. Long story short, I'm fading them at this price just because of the listings going up so much. It's like we were talking about earlier. It's that ticking time bomb.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. I hold a CloneX. I had the same exact thoughts this weekend. I said, if this touches 10, I'm dropping this and listing it immediately. May just list at 10 now to leave it there. I do think we're going to see some additional information, additional trailers throughout this week. I think we saw something about the Wandersmith being teased, incoming threat, some sort of mission. So if there is some sort of like staking lockup, some other mission that could drive listings down, could get people to stake, could provide, some sort of reward, would be interesting to see for sure. I think I'm going to maybe wait out one more big moving news event before listing at the floor. If it, like I said, if it runs to 10, I'm selling it immediately. If it hangs here, we get another event, I might list it right at the floor and get it sold. And like you said, buy back at a later date. NFT statistics talks about it a lot. The set prices generally go down after the airdrop. So like if you own a Moonbird and you get airdrop the oddity, like that set over time is going to be worth less than if you sold the Moonbird prior to that oddity drop. For drops that are known. I guess the oddity was a little bit different ball game, as that's a surprise. Doesn't really have utility, isn't necessarily that companion project, but in general, those sets tend to fare worse than the individual asset did beforehand.
Yeah, it'll definitely be worth checking out, and this is the hardest game, right? This is the hardest. It's like hypothetically, we can make all these decisions and we can talk about all these things, but when it comes to actually going in and listing your CloneX for 10 ETH and parting with it and taking profit, it's extremely hard. It's a very difficult game to play this kind of what we're seeing here. You can always get bitten ass and they announce something later on in the future. So it's kind of like, okay, between now and November, are they going to put more news out? Are they going to continue this kind of tweet storm and this lore? How long can they keep it up for? Everyone's thinking through the same thing. So you have to kind of try to put yourself in other people's shoes and see what people's selling point is, if people are still buying back in, but definitely never hurts to take profits in this market.
Yeah, exactly. And touching back on that a bit, like you do have regrets, like selling at some points. Like I acquired my CloneX. I traded a Moonbird for the CloneX and 10 ETH. So that looked fair at the time. And then CloneX is tanked. and it looked terrible. Like I was like, I wish I had my Moonbird still, but it's really just that patience game, waiting for that attention to draw back and pump. I was trying to de-risk, having multiple Moonbirds, having no exposure to Artifact, get into that Artifact ecosystem at the time. So patience, buying when there's no attention, and then selling when there's attention. So we talk about that a lot. This is when there's attention for Artifact. This is when people are buying. So this is the time where you need to be getting out and then waiting for that lull. Just have we hit peak attention yet is really the only question.
100%, 100%. And on the flip side, in the Moonbird side, they're bottom of attention right now, pretty much. There's not a lot of stuff going on with them. So you can look at, okay, if I sell this Clone X and I buy 2 oddities, if I buy a beans, if I buy all these different things that are low attention, and then when that comes up and steals, so it's also thinking about, okay, what's Clone X going to do right here? How much more upside does it have from a percentage point of view versus oddities versus beans versus the other assets that I can also get at a discount right now?
Absolutely. Pushing me more and more to press that sell button right now, Clemente. But we've talked about this enough. We need to move on and carry on with the rest of the news. Make sure we get in the time period that I think we're looking pretty good. We're getting pretty close to on pace, I think, for such a packed day. Moving on into the news feed, we have a reminder for 10KTF. If you had that Kagami roll, you need to make sure you enter into that pre-mint for the Kagami mint. This is that IRL display that you can mint and burn your pass for to get this cool display that you can display your 10KTF assets. You can also sell it on secondary before burning it. So there is some speculative value there. I believe there's 800 and some of those available. You should have a pretty good chance if you have this roll in Discord. It's for people who went on 10 or more missions over the course of the last year. We have our Azuki summary. Our curator, ONG, does a great job breaking down the numbers. We saw a big Azuki Spirit sale, 120 ETH, one of the highest sales in recent months. It was the buyer's third Spirit Azuki in response to Ringa's Samurai Saturdays. This sale sparked a Spirit Saturday trend for Azuki. Other notable sales include a gold Kaigu for 60 ETH. We dove into this wallet using WGMI's portfolio tool, and we took a look at the assets. We posted a tweet about this over the weekend, looking at the asset breakdown for this wallet. 75% Azuki, some Renga. We have some Clone X, Moonbirds, Mutants, Beans, Other Deed, and then some other random projects. This is a vault wallet for that account. We were diving in here, seeing their holdings. We see 36 Renga, 33 Azuki, 34 Beans. Can expand some of these rows, look at more of their assets. 10 Other Deeds, 5 Clone X, 4 Moonbird. So a pretty well diversified portfolio in terms of assets of blue chip holdings. Interesting to see who this person is. Multiple Spirit Azukis, as you can see, some gold hair, nice traits as well. Definitely interested to see. Going to be watching what they're buying. Looking at their history, it's a vault wallet, so most of the transfers coming are transferred in, so we can see where they're coming from. We can follow those wallets as well. Quick and easy to get to the different wallets we need to get to, look at them, see what they're buying, see what they're selling. Very powerful tool in the wallet history piece we have over at WGMI.io. Moving on with the Azuki news, we saw that there was a tribute to Naruto released on their official trailer. We saw that there is a Beans collaboration for opening ceremony, I believe. A restaurant / I think there's some like high-end travel fashion. It's kind of like a do everything company that's very big in the Asian culture there. Interesting to see that collaboration. I need to dive a bit deeper to see exactly what's going on there. We broke that Azuki's. Oh, sorry.
And sorry, I know we got to move through this, but real quick, I know we talked about we talked about this week, and we've been trying to get into Beans, but Beans are now sitting at a 0.94, quietly rallying. They're up 0.08 over the last week. Listings are trending a bit up, but what we do know, Ray, is that final Azuki World is revealed on Friday, so something to watch for is, does that affect the price action a little bit? Is that going to be a potential catalyst on Friday? I know they've been relatively quiet. I know our Azuki curator, Owen, has been kind of warning us that this is something that's going to come. And he's been pretty bullish on everything Azuki. So definitely something to watch out for there. And could be worth trying to put in a WETH offer this week if you can, with the potential upside that this Suzuki World final reveal ends up going crazy.
It's definitely interesting to see. I was checking out Gem to see kind of what the floor is looking like on SudoSwap in those pools. As you know, a lot of times the Azukis, especially when you're looking at buying Azukis off the floor, looking at Gem to see the pseudo swap floor, as long as they're not a flagged asset, is very useful because the floor for these tends to be a bit underneath of where you're looking at on other marketplaces, Opensea. Just going to make sure that they are assets that aren't marked yet, but you can get a bit of a discount looking at pseudo swap for some of these unflagged assets. I was taking a look at Beans because I'm getting to that point where I definitely want to get involved. We're seeing that best offer and floor, that spread is down to 0.05. I think that I almost want to jump in here before this rocket ship takes off, to be honest, as it gets more attention, as people start waking up. This week gets a bit closer to the announcement that we're going to see on Friday.
100%, 100%, and it's looking really good right now. And we saw it pump to 1.2, so we know it has upside already. We know that it has the capability of gathering that attention, and that the money is there. It's just that people are waiting for it, and we're at a low in terms of the attention. And overall, I think this is a great. I'm cautiously optimistic on it, knowing the kind of market that we're in right now. But yeah, the spread's looking low. The fundamentals speak to us in a way that it's like, okay, yeah, we didn't buy at our target price of 0.75 ETH. I know we were talking about that, but okay, you missed out on that initial pump. We know the volume is there. We know there's some movement, there's a positive sentiment around it. Could it still be worth to get in right now? Can it run further? And I think the answer is going to be yes.
Yep, absolutely, 100%. I'm going to be looking at that. That's going to be one I'm going to be watching closely today, probably jumping in and letting you know about, talking about it a bit in our Discord as well. Maybe we'll hit Owen up in the Discord, let him know our thoughts, see if we're misreading this at all, and kind of get some guidance from an expert in that ecosystem. Another benefit of holding our patch, you get access to our gated channels where our curators also drop some fire alpha. Moving on to Quantum Key, they announced a new mint, Sanctuary by Sky Nicholas. I haven't dove into this yet. I'll take a look as we go on, and we'll keep you updated on all these new Quantum curated drops as they occur. We saw a teaser of Bake inside the sandbox. So the Bored Apes are coming into Miami 2035 as a futuristic city where Curtis is hanging out. They're teasing that. I'm not sure when the release is. We'll keep you posted as well for that. But something to watch out for. That's going to be one of the biggest players in the sandbox as they are releasing all of these different ecosystems. I'll be excited. I'm definitely going to check that one out when that is released. We saw the merch shop open up for Three Landers. Merch looked pretty cool. They have some interesting dolls as well, like these collectibles. Seem like they're pretty well-made vinyl collectibles at a decent price point. They look, sort of like the V-Friends that are being dropped. So if you're into Three Landers, if you're looking to speculate on collecting physicals for whatever reason, these are available, as well as the merch we showed you last week. Yeah, pretty cool, right?
Dope. Congrats to the Three Landers team. I'm curious if here there was any benefit for if you're a holder, do you get a reduced price? Oh yeah, so holder discount. You do get if you do buy these. Yeah, I love this play. I think I love what Three Landers are doing. I'm not going to buy any, but I really like it. I know I've been talking to someone who's in like the toy who was trying to do this same thing for another project, and he was basically saying like, hey, this is a very, very hard thing to do from a manufacturing point of view and getting these tests, and it can be very costly as well. So props to them for doing this. And I'm curious to see how the revenue looks from that point of view. I'm not sure if you're a non-holder, are you buying this versus like I'd way rather buy a V-Friend because I think it's going to hold more value over time. If I'm a Three Lander holder, yeah, I'd buy one just so I can have one of these. But if you're not, you're competing with V-Friends already who released one 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Something to watch out for sure. I thought that was pretty cool, worth mentioning in the Three Lander side. Moving on a bit, we see the redemption is now open for the Gutter Cat Gang merch from GutterCon 2022. You can redeem your merch. I believe the floor on this is 0.12 last time I checked. So if you want some of this exclusive GutterCon merch you weren't able to attend, or you want extra merch, you can buy that on Opensea as well. Redemption period is currently open right now. We'll alert you before that closes off. We have a new season of CyberKongs, Play and Collect Season 21. Prize pool starting off at 20K bananas, and new items have been added to that claw. The ever-growing, I guess, and decreasing list of rewards you can win in the CyberKongs ecosystem. Pretty cool to see all the things going on there. I need to take a deep dive into cyberkongs. I need to see where the asset value lies, where the best places to jump in here are, because I see news constantly on my newsfeed. One of the benefits of the newsfeed, I see not only information on projects I own, but I flip on the see all news filter and I see information for all projects that we cover. So I can get news for other projects I'm looking to say, hey, do I want to jump into this project here? Do I like what they're doing? Do I want to look at a history of everything that cyberkongs have been doing since we launched the newsfeed, see what's going on, where the value lies, what value has already been extracted. So that's why I'm going to take a dive in today, see what the play is. Is it jumping into a cyberkongs VX at a lower price? Is it looking at some of these ancillary items they have? Where is that value in that ecosystem, and how can I take part, as they are, constantly rewarding holders, it seems, and constantly providing engagement through these games. We saw we talked about this a bit earlier. I think we covered all the Project Animus drop information, but we alerted this to you over the weekend, making sure you knew that, hey, here's all the details on the drop, the timing, and everything surrounding that. Our very own Clemente, doing the work on the weekend, putting it in, making sure we all are up to date on the artifact ecosystem here. Vayner Sports, make sure you jump on this. Many of these raffles are ending today. We have a list of 4 different raffles here. 60 different raffles here. I was only eligible for 4. I don't have any of the green cards. If you have a green card, you have some experiences. I believe it's a Jets football game, tickets to that. There's some other interesting raffles here. One that includes a trip to Melbourne, Australia to see tennis, includes a travel stipend as well. Raffle for that, as well as some Candy digital NFTs for those who aren't as interested in the physicals but could get potentially a valuable NFT asset. Make sure if you're holding a VSP to check over at their raffle site, see what you're eligible for. We'll keep you up to date on all of those raffles, as always, on our news feed. We saw that VFriends, we had some more news on collectibles there. The Kim Shui driven Dragon collection is now available for worldwide shipping. We saw we have a link here to the site where different holders can claim and redeem their apparel for the Driven Dragons. Make sure if you hold one of those, you check that out, as we'll be serving that information to you on the newsfeed. I have no idea what Pac's doing. I have no idea what these projects are, but we did see him release another one. This one actually didn't extract value. It was an airdrop. It was the Matter collection. It was sent to those who held Merge. There was some sort of event or snapshot or contest with Merge, and we have all that information here, links out to the full post for these Merge airdrops of Matter. They're basically different balls. Doesn't make sense to me. They do look kind of cool. They're not just, circles. They're circles with some more stuff going on. I'm not in the POC ecosystem. I know that he's highly controversial, but we'll continue to keep you updated on all of that information as it progresses. We've talked about this in the past weeks. I've kept it unread to make sure that I am following it closely. You can leave things unread, mark things as read at your leisure on the newsfeed. Make sure you keep the most important news to you visible so you can act on it when the time comes. We have the Wind Chime drop by Mike Shinoda. That's releasing in 2 days on the 12th. We talked a bit about this, how Ziggurat holders get guaranteed and half off the Wind Chimes. We called this out when they were sitting at 25 TES last week, and the week before. I think the floor on them has risen a decent amount. I think it's been almost a 50% gain here for the Ziggurats on OBJKT. Yeah, we're looking at 34 TES now. Ran up 25, made that call over there. I don't know if it's a matter of people not having any interest in the Wind Chimes drop, not valuing the discount as much, or just not being able to, or not wanting to, go through the process of creating a Temple wallet, buying TES on a secondary collection and sending it over to make this purchase. Definitely inexpensive compared to the discount that you're getting. I believe you're getting it at 0.05 as opposed to 0.1. So you almost get all the value there from just the Ziggurat you buy. You must, turn it all in getting that early and discounted mint access. They also updated it that all Ziggurat holders will be getting 2 allocations of this drop. So definitely one to watch. Mike Shinoda is a big name. The drop's on the 12th. I'll be monitoring it for sure, seeing how volume's doing. I do hold Ziggurats. I did mint them way back in December when that dropped. It was, I think that was tipped off from Kevin Rose, had him on the Proof podcast. That was the original entry into TES for me. But take a look at it. definitely worthwhile if you're holding these. Otherwise, you'll have to be part of the partner communities. Proof, Moonbirds, Warps, Capsule House, and Premint all have different premints for the full price as well. Jump into one of those if you're interested. We have all those links on the newsfeed. That being said, that wraps up the newsfeed for today. I know we have some other non-newsfeed news we want to cover. If you want to start off and kick us off over there, Clemente, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, and I know we're a little bit over time, but on Friday we did see Ryan Carson sweep 10 on-chain monkeys and on-chain monkey karmas. It was live during our NFT market talk every Friday. He jumped on. He was talking about how he was bullish on them. He was excited about what they're building out. The floor didn't move too much about him, but it was fun seeing that jump on. And what really interested me was how low the listings have gotten over the last 3 months. The floor has gone down the listings have gone down about 70% to just over 100 listed, I do believe, if I remember correctly. So congrats to the On-Chain Monkey team. It was also interesting just listening to Ryan's perspective on why he actually buys the NFTs and the floor versus some of these other venture funds that buy in and don't necessarily have the same approach and because they can't really do it yet. But anyways, he also announced that he'll have 2 announcements this week regarding his fund. So something to look out for there.
Yeah, it was great having him on. Great to be able to pick his brain, see where some of his insight is. Talked a bit about his frameworks that he invests with. He's uses a bit different approach than we do. Using strictly numbers. He goes into, more of the team, the socials. He does a lot of look and feel with these meetings he's having, but he is trying to move more towards the data. He's been talking about that a bit. He's talking a bit about, hey, look at these projects. What have maintained that, high, 5x, 10x price point, figure out what have ran to there, which projects have sustained that, and then what factors have caused that. And then using that to influence some of the future purchases they make. Is it social media engagement, Discord engagement, Twitter Spaces activity, the strength of the team, how much capital they have? He dropped all that knowledge. We have that all up on our Twitter page. If you head over to the WGMI IO Twitter and check out that Market Talk space, you'll be able to catch all of that. We also had Gossamer Rosen on, one of the founder of Tiger Bob, one of the projects that Ryan Carson also has invested in. She jumped on and talked a bit about, NFTs from an artist perspective and the different expectations and how it feels, coming from someone who's just doing pure art in the space and the pressures and problems they have to deal with. So definitely check that out. It was a great show we had over the weekend. I think we ran, over 2 hours on our normally hour and a half long show. So had a great time there. Be sure to check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. It was and as well as over the weekend, we also saw Pixelmon. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, but 65 Pixelmon were swept yesterday. So with that being said, you look at their 1 day sales and they're at about double that. So about 126 pixel have been bought over the last 24 hours. I know Ray is not a massive fan of them, but what I do like to see is that the listings are going down with the front floor price going up. People seem to be holding them. I am not sure what's to come of this. My thought process is it's either insider trading or it's someone just wanting to create speculation around it. Either way, it's working. They are rallying. They saw a little bit of a nice pump, and over the last month, I think they're looking at a pretty strong 2x. I'm not obviously getting near it, but just reporting on that's kind of what we're seeing. We're seeing some movement around there, and we'll continue to watch it over this week.
Yeah, taking a look at them, I'm going to try to load up the wallet that swept a decent amount. I'm just taking a brief look at the Opensea activity. There's another giant sweep about 9 hours ago. Wow! I'm trying to load up that wallet. Take a look at what else they own. We see 30 Pixelmon, 12 Art of Seasons, a couple Renga black boxes. I wonder if it was somebody who potentially. See if they've sold anything recently that has been mainly purchases. It looks like.
Yeah, that's crazy. I would love to sit down with this person and hear why they decided to do this.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe it was somebody who maybe they have some Rengas left in their wallet. Maybe they were somebody who sold Rengas at a profit and were looking for the next potential big sweep there. looking to turn that profit over again.
Well,
But it doesn't seem
if
like
they
they're
were
much of a
watching the
trader.
morning show, they would have no shortage of potential buys to get into here. Not sure if Pixelmon's the best one, but who knows, right? Maybe we'll be watching this later. Go, man, we should have gotten into it. Although I doubt it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, definitely. And then capping off kind of the weekend movement, we saw the DGenheim Degenesis mint. So this is a 250 quantity mint. This is separate from the DGenheim collection that's going to be released in the future. Essentially provided you with, a guaranteed DGen Ground airdrop, a guaranteed legendary chest airdrop, an armor airdrop, a DGenheim free mint. So coming in, I was watching this. I was like, I'll jump in around like 1 ETH, 1.5 ETH, and I'll probably get in there. It ended at 3.6 ETH. So it was a fair auction where anyone who bid in the top 250 ended up paying the lowest price. So 3.6 ETH was the lowest of the top 250. All paid 3.6 ETH and got airdrop these tokens. Huge amount. It's exactly what I said. Wow, they're going to be hurting. That's bad. But what they did afterwards, this was genius. They dropped the price from 3.6 to 2.5. They refunded all of the winners 1.1 ETH. And then they increased the rewards they're going to be getting as well. I believe they changed. Here we go. They're getting 3 times the amount of the airdrops. So they took the people who were the most interested, the most devoted, those 250, and then they not only did they give them what they promised, they then went above and beyond, took the price down and increased what they were getting based on that high final price. Definitely smart so that you can keep your biggest fans, not underwater from the get-go. It looks like they misspelled the link on their Twitter though. But looking at this project right now, they got airdropped, I believe, this morning. We're seeing, only 34 ETH of volume. We're seeing a floor price of 2.9. So it's pretty close to that 2.5 value when you take out fees. You have seen a number of sales, some in the 3.5. I think that's all Sneaky. Yeah, I have alerts for Sneaky. Saw him buying a couple this morning at 3.6 and 4 as well. Shout out to Sneaky Ninja Pants. He's been minting the Momentum pass. It's going to get access to a bunch of his tooling, private Discord, a lot of ancillary benefits, whitelist to DGenheim and Ether as well, 2 upcoming projects that are big in demand from a perspective of the upcoming projects. If you hold that Momentum pass, you also get free WGMI access through the end of the year. Great partner project. We partnered with Sneaky a number of times over the last year. Awesome trader, really believes in us and our tool. And, we love what he's doing over there in the community. He's building around power traders. Our values align very much so there. So I just wanted to throw him a shout out as well. Thank you for the constant support. And we hope that, we can pay that back a bit with the access to our tool for your Momentum holders. That being said, I think that's covering for what we've seen outside of the news feed in terms of news over the weekend. Do you have anything else to add, Clemente?
The last thing, usually this would be the spot to where I talk about my project of the day and what I'm looking at. To be honest, I'm rather bearish. I know I usually am not. So I think this week's going to be a little bit of low activity. We're going to see some bleeding. We're going to see some low volume. What I do like is beans, like we were talking about earlier. I think this is a buy at this range. If you can get in at around, I know the floors are around 0.9. If you can put in a WETH offer at getting at 0.85 around there, below that, you're sitting well, and then you take that wedge until Friday. The other one I like is these. As far as my potential entry point goes, if I want to get in at 1.15. So I don't know if it'll get there, but during these times when I'm thinking, it's going to be a little bit of a bleed this week. I think we're going to be bearish. What I then go is think, okay, what would I buy? What am I looking to buy at a discount? What's on my shopping list? And then I look for those prices accordingly.
Yeah, I think we saw a dip down to 1.24. We saw 1.1 earlier last week, and we were still waiting. We were looking at that 1 point, but as this continues to rise, we may see more people making this patience play. We are getting closer to the end of the year with every day that goes by. Are we going to, see this continue to rise now? Have we missed, potentially the global bottom by trying to really find a local bottom? But it's definitely one I'm going to be looking at as well. Those and beans are my 2 targets today. I think I'm in complete agreement with you. maybe selling that Clonex and scooping some of those patience plays and seeing if that pays off. But yeah, I think that wraps it up for me. It sounds like you're through your dashboard as well. Any final notes before I close it out?
Oh, I know we went a little bit over, but yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Join us tomorrow at the same time, 7:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 a.m. Eastern for episode number 20. So getting up there. If you like what you see, like I said, DM us the word newsfeed for a chance to win a 7-day trial to use all of WGMI's tools. And don't forget to mint our all access beta NFT at WGMI.io. That'll give you access to all of the WGMI tools. You'll get access to everything until the end of 2022, and you'll get discounted access to WGMI going forward after that. Thank you, everyone. You have a great